So this is the greatest moment. Can you feel it? I wonder why. Because we're alive, yes? Wasn't it wonderful to wake up this morning and realize you were alive? I mean, what a concept, right? Wow. So we're going to make a mighty noise today in joy and love, and we're going to celebrate God. As Raymond Charles Barker used to say, if God thought enough of you to create you, then let's think enough of ourselves to celebrate God in return. Shall we? All right, so we are welcoming our incredible Unity Singers / choir. Yes, and please sing along.
Choice, and I am trying to make the right choice for
Get
anything God wants me to be. I can go anywhere God wants me to go. I can be anything God wants me to be. I can climb the high mountains, I can cross the White Sea. I'm a great big promise to see. I'm a promise, I am a possibility, I am a promise. With a capital B, I am a great big bundle of potentiality. Here you go. To make the right choice, I'm a promise to be anything God wants me to be. I am a promise to be anything God wants me to be.
I'm telling you, our choir exceeds the size of most spiritual communities. Are we blessed or what? Let's thank Noreen Brocky. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, 60% of Unity communities are less than 30 people throughout the nation. So look, we've got ourselves a crowd. And may I also add, we're just getting started. Right? I mean, don't you want to be a part of something that people are talking about? For the good, of course. Right? Of course, of course. You know, we celebrate unity. And many of us come every week and we gather together so that we may intrigue our memory of knowing that we have everything we need, for we are children of God. We are an expression of God. Yes? And so we can feel that in our lives and we can feel that in our hearts. And we teach this, you are responsible for your life. You co-create with the divine. And so that means that after you're 30, you no longer get the luxury of blaming your parents or your teachers or your neighbors or anyone else, because it's give everybody a rest. Are you with me? If you're not, we have therapists available after the service today that would love to take the time to meet with you, because it's very important. Because as you free others, you become free. Say that with me. As I free others, I become free. Wow. What a powerful feeling. So we really welcome all of you today. We thank you for thinking enough of yourselves to come here, to immerse yourself in this teaching. And we thank you for thinking enough of Unity of Santa Barbara for being present. Yes, we want to welcome all of you online, and we thank you for your participation. Please leave comments, because we love to know where you are from and ideas that you may have for our community. It's my pleasure today, before we honor others who are visiting with us today, I am so giddy because my childhood friend, we've been friends since we are 3 and 4 years old, Kim Brown Harrelson, would you please stand? I'm the real, we're both Leos, but I'm the one that's the out-live Leo. It's truly an honor that she's here by way of New Zealand en route to see her daughter. So for those of you that are with us for the first time today and willing to admit it, would you please stand so our ushers can give you a flower and acknowledge you? All right, well, let's just take care of Kim then. You get to stand again. What we resist persists. If someone would bring Kim a flower to the front. Yep, and we also have a mala bead for you. I'd also like to say that we have a chaplain in service today. Barbara Bertuzzi, would you please stand? Here at Unity, we are in the divine practice of prayer. And so whatever you write down on that paper, know that you have let it go. I now let go, and I now let God. Say that with me. I now let go, and I now let God. And so it is. Feel that wonderful energy, and let's welcome up our beloved Russ Chafin, our president of our board, to read the daily word.
Good morning. So the daily word today, if you haven't figured it out yet, is joy. And the affirmation is, I carry joy in my heart. And let's say that together. I carry joy in my heart. Doesn't that feel good to say that? My many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know that they are not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy, is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my natural spiritual nature and to my oneness with all good and all life. It is an attitude I hold in mind and a feeling in my heart. The happiness I feel in life depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God and by making time for things that make me happy. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me, my gift to share generously. And from Scripture, for you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace, from Isaiah 55:12. So let's just take a moment to allow these words to penetrate into our consciousness. And let me say this affirmation one more time. I carry joy in my heart. And so it is.
So as we know, everything is energy. Everything is energy. What you emit is energy. What you say is energy. How you approach one another is energy. And one of the things that we are here at this spiritual center is that we are full on. We're a group of people that play full on. So I want you to greet each other full on today. If you will, just stand, if you will, and greet those around you. You're next.
I know it.
All right. Well, if you will, find your seat. Wasn't that fun? It always is. All right. And so this is the time in our service where I would like to introduce a dear friend of mine, and I know a dear friend of yours, and he's going to be speaking about what unity means to him, and that is my dear friend, Dr. Jim Quacco. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this chance. I offered to say a few words, and after I offered, I began a review. Well, what has happened here? What would I say? And I just almost overcome with how far back it goes. 30 years. My wife, son, and I became members, and so much has happened. I have been given 3 gifts from unity. That's what I'll emphasize. I'll keep it brief. The first one is, of course, participating in the energy of unity, the principles that we live by. I mean, unity is interested in us experiencing divine love, experiencing wisdom, experiencing courage, experiencing joy, not just hearing words about it, taking it in. One of the real tools, as much as I've been into this, I keep my eyes open for practical things that can bring Spirit into my life more. And today, he and Reverend Denise Schelling brought to us the Q process. And it just kind of simplified things and made it easier to identify with the strengths and accept the responsibility that when I get in trouble, something's missing. If I see it as a problem, what's missing? And she taught us to identify with the strengths within us that could make a difference when this was happening, when this was unfolding, and how to heal it now. And it just meant the world to me. I've used it many, many times. I use it for great things too, to reconnect with the source from where the joy comes from that I get to experience from time to time. And one of the things that especially impressed me about unity was a source of authority, the source of power. I was raised in a church where it was the church and the official was the church. Unity says, no, it's within you. It's within you. And the ministers share the journeys they're going through. And it brought me to begin to realize that I can identify this. I and my father are one. I and my mother are one. I and the Creator are one. And to feel that and to experience that just, brought it all the more alive to me. I appreciate that immensely. The second gift that I've received from Unity is the singing, the choir, being part of the choir. But what we do here at Unity is we energize great ideas. We energize love in action. We energize cheerfulness. We energize joy. You raise me up to be more than I can be. I have to restrain myself. I can come to tears when I hear these things and when we sing them. And I can't stay on the notes if I get carried away with how wonderful it feels. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. 1,000 notes, and it's all praise. It's an old word for a new way of being grateful and thankful. And we do that in the choir. It's become another family. And it's so wonderful to get to know people, and we keep unfolding in the ways that we can. The third gift that I received started about 9 years ago. A small group of us got together and we started meeting once a week. And we still do. And with this small group, we talk about the problems we have. We talk about serious problems, health problems, relationship problems. And we talk about a lot of fun things. One of the members often says, "Oh, you're late again. Well, we better stop talking about him." We look for ways to take life lightly. And it's just delightful to see that happening and unfolding. And I'm deeply grateful for those who participate in that and for Unity, for bringing us together. I know this is potential for everybody. Unity is a gold mine. And I feel very fortunate at finding that strain of inspiration. And so I hope all of you dig deeper, ask more, participate more. The more I've gotten involved in the various activities here, the more I've gotten to know the people involved and their efforts to become more than what they used to be. And so I hope you continue to get more involved, volunteer for as much as you can, and enjoy every aspect of this as much as you can. Participate in the classes, volunteer wherever you can. Thank you. And so I'd like you to sing with us, "This is Holy Ground." This is holy ground.
This is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For love is here and everything is holy. This is holy ground. We're standing on holy is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For love is here and everything is holy. This is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For love is here and everything is holy. Everything is holy.
And this is the time in our service where we just tune in, tap in. And we realize there's not a spot where God is not. God, that magnificent presence, is within each of us, all around us, everywhere present. And as we tune into that power and that presence of God, there may be some here that might have a bit of a challenge getting to that place. So I'm going to ask each of you to serve one another here in this holy place. I'm going to ask you to remember a time, and it could be right now, when you felt that holy ground, when you felt that presence of God in a most powerful way. You resonated, you were in a state of great bliss, but you knew there was a higher power. Remember that time. Bring it here to your physical body. And allow that energy now to just radiate within every atom, every cell of your being. And as we remember that time, now we minister to one another. Let's take a moment, send that energy to everybody here. Magnifying that presence, that experience. And as you experience the energy here, allow it to just wash over your mind, cleansing your heart, healing your body. We are right now standing on holy ground. We are in the pure essence of holiness. And so, dear God, we give thanks for this time together. We give thanks that we can minister to one another. We give thanks that we are open and receptive to your living Spirit of truth. And so we come back now with grateful hearts. For this, dear God, we are so very grateful. And so it is. Amen.
So wonderful, isn't it? Let's give them another hand, please. So a mother is watching her little girl drawing, and she goes, "Honey, what are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm drawing God." And the mother says, "Well, you know, honey, nobody really knows what God looks like." And the little girl looks at her mother and says, "Well, they will when I'm finished." And so when we talk about the power of creativity, then our question that we ask ourselves really is, at the end of our lives, what do we want to be known for? In a world now that is full of promoting celebrity-itis, when most become famous so they can hide because they don't want to be known, what do we want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? What is your billboard? What is your elevator speech, we would say? That in memory of you, when people think of you, what would that look like? That was quite an experience for me, because to become known for someone who represents God, as God's salesperson, yes, I had to get God out of the closet. You know, I had to understand that I wanted to be fully present and say to people when they asked me what I did, that I didn't talk around it and go, "What do you do for a living?" I'd go, "I'm a unity minister. I represent ideas about God, that everybody is a connection to God." And I have found that the more I get excited about God and the more I get excited about my life, the more that I perceive, because of expectation, cause and effect, that God and life are excited about me. Do you get me? Yes. And so when we say things like "make a mighty noise" from the power of joy, we mean that literally. We mean that can your family now, with who you are and what you are, can your neighbors now, with who you are and what you are, do they know that you represent God? Because of you, do they want to even know more? Wow, it's something for us to think about, isn't it? In the Atlanta Olympics in 1996, the women's softball team representing the United States were going against Australia. And so Danielle Tyler got up to hit in the 5th inning and hit a home run. And oh, she was elated, because that is a sweet feeling. I know that feeling when you hit a home run. And the adrenaline started rushing, and her team rushed out to meet her. And she was so excited as they were there to hug her there at the finish line. She didn't touch home plate. So Australia said, "This is not okay," and she got an out rather than the benefit of a home run. In life, often we do that. We're all excited to play this game called life, and yet often there are bases that we miss touching along the way. Those finish lines, those connections, as Buddha would say, there's two things that would create a project to fail. One would be never starting, and the other would be never finishing. And so it's the ability to stay the full course. Like the refrigerator magnet says, if your best hasn't arrived yet, it's not complete. We say the best is yet to come. It's not kumbaya. It's not to sound impressive. In Unity, we really believe that. Even death will be the best thing that's ever happened to us if you believe that life has been the best thing that's ever happened to you. Are you with me? Does this work for you? Are you there? Yes? Okay, thanks. Awesome. It's so good to be with you. Yes. And so that is part of it. You know, it's interesting, if your calendar year starts in January, we're already a third of the way. Wow, right? It's like, somebody was saying to this guy, I have, resolutions every year. He goes, oh, yeah, I wrote out 6 of them, and I kept every one of them. I sure did. They're actually in an envelope on top of my refrigerator. I kept them all. So when we look at creativity, though, right? Thank you. It's nice when we laugh. Thank you. We've got one person with me this morning. When we are in that space, it's important that we allow to call out of ourselves this magic, like Roger Bannister did. From 1888 to 1954, people tried to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But there was something that tapped into Roger Bannister's all-knowing of a source he was drawing from that was greater than himself. Because, see, that's where we get into issue, you see, is that when you think it's all up to you, you've already missed the point. When you think it's up to your personality, you're already limiting the divine potential. Can you see that? That's martyrdom rather than opening to the greater things of spirit in which we live and move and have our being. And so Roger Bannister just held this space, and he had this psychological breakthrough of, I'm going to do this. And he proved what we say all the time in Unity: principle is not bound by precedent. A stopping point for so many people when it comes to being creative is they say, well, nobody's ever done it before. Or I know somebody that tried to do it and it didn't work out for them. We live in a world that says, let's do something different. Let's aim higher. Why would we want to be average? As my teacher would always say, average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. That's not exciting enough, is it? I mean, that doesn't make you want to really go for it so you can justify your means for staying where you are. Why is it in Unity, when the Fillmores doubled their life expectancy, an expectancy of 40-ish, to living to almost be 90-ish, why is it that we're not aiming to double ours? Why? It makes you wonder. You hear people say, well, I'm okay about getting older as long as I'm healthy. I just want to be healthy. I represent God, the infinite, but as long as I'm okay. Is there justification to that? Absolutely. But what about an affirmation that says, let's all go for 200? Nobody's going to talk about you if you fail. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's like, that's part of creativity, is the immersed love of God, in that you aim higher than where you've gone before. And whatever that is in your life, your health, your well-being, the power of love, energy, friendship. Wow, we're going for another 60. And I'm going for 200, so we'll have to go for another 60 more. But what a good feeling that is, to be able to say, we have been friends for 60 years, and we still love each other even more. Wow. Aim high for what is possible in that space. The American Institute of Stress, there indeed is one. The American Institute of Stress, and there can be good stress. Getting excited can be, being in love can have stress. But they say guaranteed that most primary care visits, 75+% of them are stress related. They're stress related. Not necessarily the physical being, but the essence of the energy that is guiding us that oftentimes is not our own. When we're overly stressed about something, usually we're buying into somebody else's belief system, and it doesn't belong to us. Anybody agree with that? Thank you. You know, in our society, studies shows a couple of years ago that the American society goes through 5 billion barbiturates, 5 billion tranquilizers a year. Wow. Right? That's a lot. Tons of aspirin. And we have unity. We have the dose of love and life and that energetic presence that we live in. You know, Solomon, when he was approached by God and was asked, "What is it that you want, Solomon? You can have anything you want." He said, "I want discernment. I just want discernment. I want wisdom. I want to be able to draw from an inner well, and I want to live according to my own power of creativity, that I don't get caught up in just buying into other people's limitations." So many people died the same year their parents died, as far as years of age. People with their accomplishments accomplished what their brothers did, or their cousins, or their high school coach, rather than looking at, here I am, God. I am ready to serve. Say that with me. Here I am, God. I am ready to serve. And the excitement of not knowing what that looks like, and being in that energetic field and looking at what is possible for all of us. Alexander was a great king. And one time a man approached him and told his treasurer that he needed money. He was really hurting for funds, and he needed money. And so when the treasurer came back to Alexander, he said, "Did you give him the funds? Did you give them to him?" He said, "Well, I thought he asked for way too much, and so I didn't give him anything." And Alexander said, "He respected me as a king, and he asked me according to my being a king, and I am going to gift him in the same way of being the king. Give him what he wants. Give him what he wants." What is our ask? Think about, is your ask big enough? Are you asking big enough to excite nature and the energy that is available and the energy that is around us? Do you aim high enough as you are being creative and living this wonderful life? How many of you here have had Stretton Smith, the 4T program? Well, we might just need to write that down. We might just need to bring that here. It's a wonderful program about tithing your time, talent, and your treasures. And one of the greatest things that he said is, spend your life rather than setting it right. Learn to live your life to see it right. To see it right. Instead of wanting to set it right. Well, this is the way things are now after COVID. What do you expect? It happened to my mother and my grandmother, so, it is going to, what do you expect? We set it right. Are you with me? We set it right. Well, a lot of people are divorced. So, we set it right. We justify the place that we are standing. And what we want to learn how to do is to walk away from where we stood. That is who we were. That's our history. That's the memory of ourselves. And we want to step into this new energy that says anything is possible now. I want to be open. I want to open my heart. I want to see what can happen. I want to see what can be created. I know that early on, for me, when I was coming here, I wasn't going to do ministry anymore. I was clear. I was setting it right. I was setting it right, and I sounded very impressive, like I really knew what I was talking about. And Kathy would say, "Well, why don't we do this?" Or Heidi would say, "Why don't you do this?" I go, "No, I've done this for 30 years." Right? I mean, I was just very convincing. You see how it worked? Because when you open your heart, when you open your heart, when you open your heart, you go where love calls you. The other is the head. The other is the old story. But when you open your heart and you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear and that space, wow, anything is possible. You know, we all grew up on the Hayes Road, named after my grandfather, and that Kim now, she used to aggravate me all the time, all the time, about the fact, and this is the first time she's ever heard me speak, so she had no idea, okay, but that being said, she would aggravate me all the time because I have since almost after I was born out of my mother, I have been holding a puppy or a cat all my life. And I would say, well, I'll be by to pick you up to go to school. I'll drive you to school today, but I got to take care of the dog first. And she'd go, you and those dogs. Oh, my word. I mean, you're just so weird when it comes to all those animals. Well, I call her as she's coming here, and she goes, you know, I'm very stressed about coming because Louie, her dog, I don't want to leave Louie without his mama, okay? So your heart will find you. What are you known for? Your heart will lead you the way. Your heart will create the space. Rick Warren, a great American minister and author, he said, you know, it's really fascinating when you look at nature, because weeds, you don't have to do anything with weeds, boy. They just take off and they go, and some of them are kind of pretty. But he says the weeds, they just go. They don't need any tending to. But your plants, they need nurturing. And they need you paying attention. And he said that is likened to living a life where you really vibrate with the energy of that you are blessed by the divine and you are blessed by God, because you tend to that plant of understanding within your consciousness. And if you don't tend to it, those weeds crop up. They creep up. They come into you. Yes? The thoughts, those doubts, those limitations, those questioning. And so it's important to focus on the plant that you have looking forward. So in closing, I'd like to say that, you know, many of us love the book, What I Learned. Everything I learned in kindergarten, right? Remember that one? You probably know the author here. But somebody said, well, what if there was a new book called Everything I Learned from Noah, and the story of Noah. It wasn't even raining when he agreed to do the ark. It wasn't even raining. We're also told to stay in shape, because at 600 years old, somebody might ask you to build something very magical, right? There's a message there also about coming in twos. There's something to be said about in your whole life having a buddy system. There's something to be said of don't miss out on the boat. And be aware of who's in your boat. Your people that are your team. Are they high consciousness? Are they affluent? Do they hold big ideas for you? Or do you surround yourself in a boat of doubters and people that, because of their own insecurities, they are determined to hold you back so they can feel comfortable? Speed doesn't count when it comes to being on the ark, because the snails were there along with the cheetahs. It's not how fast your life is being delivered to you. It's the fact that you are holding this power of creativity in the palm of your heart, right here. And regardless of what you go through in life, you always find a rainbow at the end. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Bless you.
Oh, well, this is the time in our service where we give of our tithes and offerings. I'm going to ask the ushers to come forward. And just to let you know that our church is doing amazing things every single day. And, you know, we have had such a great time recently, really coming up with, ideas forward-moving events that you'll see as we progress along. And every day, we're centered around this idea of how can we be the epicenter for all of Santa Barbara County and beyond. And your giving goes toward supporting our growth, our way of being out into the world. And so it's not so glamorous. You know, we have the electricity and the water and the salaries and the marketing. And I just want you to know your generosity and your kindness makes all these little things possible, and the great things even more possible. We're most grateful for your kindness and generosity as you give, not only today, but throughout the month and throughout the year. And so we have our affirmation that we say together, and that is, I hold the vision of unity of Santa Barbara as a thriving, loving, spiritual community it is meant to be. And as many of you know, I know some of you donate online, and those of you that are looking at us online, you can give through unitysb.org, Givelify, I'm learning to say that word, and credit cards. Russ loves to take credit cards. He'll be right outside here at the volunteer desk, and he's got his little, what do you call that? Little square. He's not square, but he will have a square. So anyway, again, let's take our offerings in our hands and say our blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I share. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all. Invite you to join us on the last verse of Love Has Broken Down the Wall. The words will be on the screen.
You all are so wonderful. Good. I'm Forrest, here to share some of our Unity announcements today. First off, our flower dedications. If you would like to honor a person, a pet, a place, or an event with a flower dedication, please contact Peggy. You can find her at the table here, the volunteer table right outside these doors. You can also sign up for our e-blast online at unitysb.org. As Reverend Kathy mentioned earlier, there are so many new events and happenings here and developments, so please stay tuned and let your friends know about that as well. We have a new setup of chairs outside that you can eat at, have some snacks, commune and commingle with each other. So they're right out here in the courtyard. On Mother's Day, on May 8th, there is a very special surprise on the Sunday, next Sunday. So we want you to be sure to come here with your friends because we have something really exciting that we want to present to you and share with you. One other thing that's happening today, actually, at 5 o'clock is a movie. Today is a Unity movie day. So at Hitchcock Cinema up by Whole Foods on Upper State Street, Hitchcock Cinema, there is a movie called The Duke, and there will be a Unity group there today, and the movie starts at 5:10. So if you could arrive by 5 o'clock, that would be appreciated. Sunday snack donation requests. We are looking for more snacks at our tables here, and if you would like to participate in that, it would be deeply appreciated. You can see Patricia Folk and Cindy Sawyer, or you can email unitysb.org. And thank you in advance. We're also looking for volunteers to help break down tables and chairs after our services. And again, you can see Peggy at the volunteer and welcome table right outside those doors. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
I was so into those announcements, I completely forgot what it meant. Well, this is a day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. What? Oh, I thought you were yelling at me for some reason. So with that, let us now stand and sing our peace song.
The light of God surrounds us. I am that